That's it. Very good, Rake. The young orc beamed with pride at that compliment. Sometimes Herfia realised that that's all it took to encourage the young to do their best. Now, I want you to focus on that shield not being in the way anymore. Think of it as a door that's keeping you in. Feel about how it should be open and then open it. Rake took a deep breath and raised her rod. I have the strength of Tathanon with me and I will break this shield. Splinters flew across the courtyard as Rake smashed her rod hard on the wooden heater. Herfia was surprised. No, more than that. Herfia was shocked, stunned even. That was only the third time that Rake had tried that spell. Herfia realised that the young orc was waiting, a single large cut on their cheek. Very good again, Rake. Now, why don't you go to the wound tender and get that looked at? And I'll see you tomorrow to practice your movements. Rake smiled again at the warlock and went off to clean up. About today. Overview. Each season, the civil service prepares a summary of the Empire's relationship with the foreign nations, based on communications received from their ambassador, along with any useful intelligence gathered from other sources. While the Senate and the other houses of imperial power may respond to these offers, it's important to note that it is the appropriate ambassador that the foreign power will expect to hear from. Their communication with the foreign power is the primary element that will determine the tenor of any response. The Thule are ruled by their magicians. Almost all positions of authority are held by those capable of working magic. Ritual magicians, or warlocks, hold more power than those who focus on the performance of incantations, and the nation as a whole is ruled with an iron fist by potent, aged shaman ritualists called dragons. The Thule ambassador to the Empire is Rak, who speaks for the Dragons Undivided, a long-term appointment who has, at this point, served as the counterpart to 4 imperial ambassadors. Rak serves to provide assistance and support to the Dragons of Okadov, appraising them of information from their southern neighbours, and relaying their edicts to the Empire. On treaties. The Empire is at peace with the Thule, but the peace treaty is due to expire at the summer solstice 387 YE. It is clear that the Thule expects the Empire to pay a heavy price to extend the existing peace treaty. Last season, Rak, who speaks with the Dragons Undivided, met with his imperial counterpart, Kindra Surefoot, the ambassador to Okadov, to discuss the renewal of the peace treaty between Okadov and the Empire. There is no official public report about how the meeting went. No Senate motions were raised, nor any missives passed on from Rak. It seems as if there is a deep breath taken. If the treaty is not extended, then in 6 months, the Thule and the Empire will once again be at war. Given that the Thule have fortifications in every region they control in otherwise imperial territories, and have had years to stockpile mana crystals and prepare for war, it seems likely that open hostilities pose a significant threat to the Northern Empire. While some citizens welcome the chance to reclaim the land ceded to the Thule over the years, others are concerned about what magic the Orcs of Okadov might unleash to secure their claims in the north. A cultural exchange. A delegation of Thule Skuldir will be at the Wintermark Moot Circle on Saturday at 6:30 in the evening. They wish to regale Scops and other citizens with 5 tales of Thule culture. They would like to hear 5 tales of Wintermark culture from the assembled Scops. They would also like to present a book containing the collected stories and ask that their imperial counterparts contribute their own tales. Responding to an inquiry from the ambassador to Okadov, Kindra Surefoot, a warlock acting independently of the official embassy channels has apparently organised a cultural exchange for the coming summit. Husva Mek will present themselves and a number of Skuldir, seemingly some form of bard in Thule society, by the Moot Fire in Wintermark from 6:30 until 8 on Saturday evening. Each Skuld will be there to tell legends and folk tales of the Thule, and to learn tales from the Scops of Wintermark. As per the request of the ambassador, the event is to focus on morality tales, tales of civilian life, and stories of great deeds that don't concern war. The goal is to learn the depths of the other party's culture outside of the military sphere, which has, until now, so often been the focus. They have expressed that it would be fitting to hear 5 tales from the Winterfolk. In case it helps the Scops to decide which stories are worthy of sharing, they present the themes of their 5 stories for consideration. The first is a tale about the dangers of deceitful Eternals and the importance of personal sacrifice for the good of the community. The second is a tale of growth and development, about learning obedience. The third, a tale of great magical prowess and the obligations that rulers have to their people. The fourth is a cautionary tale about abusing power granted to you. And fifth, lastly, is a poem about love, anger, and the endless storm. They have asked that stories be no more than 5 minutes long, so that there is time for discussion of the tale afterwards. Husfamek would also like it to be known that they've prepared a bound volume of some of the tales, which they wish to present to Ambassador Kindra, or her appointed representative at the gathering, in person. They would appreciate it if the Empire is able to fill the remaining pages with their own stories to create a record of the 2 cultures bound into 1 volume. Repaid debts. Members of the Thule 5 fan consortium will be coming to Anvil to repay bonds that were sold a year ago. They will be at the Civil Service Hub between the hours of 6:30 and 8:30 on the Friday evening of the summit. The consortium has advised that they are able to repay in full due the bounty of the mine. The 5 fan consortium advises that the mine is still open and producing mithril for the Thule. A number of Imperial citizens visited the consortium's mine in autumn and might have additional information. The abolition of slavery in the Thule lands has led to the emergence of small bands of Thule entrepreneurs trying to make their initial steps into the world of commerce and free trade. One such group is the 5 fan consortium, visited Anvil at the winter solstice last year to raise investment money from Imperial citizens. Though the original plan of a frozen harbour didn't work out, the group found a mithril deposit in a mountain and has been exploiting the precious metal for the past few months. The group has informed the civil service that thanks to the output of the mine, they're able to repay bondholders in full to the tune of 1 throne and 2 crowns as agreed. Any bondholders will need to bring their physical bond to be repaid, as the group didn't take records of names. They've advised that they aren't looking to raise more capital currently, but could discuss minor matters of business and ethos with any interested Imperial citizens. They will be looking to meet with people at the hub between 6:30 and 8:30 on Friday evening. Conjunctions. To be alone. Mikarova. A group of Thule has disappeared after leaving the Red Lantern. This skirmish is a combat possible encounter. The custodian of the gift of the dwindling star is responsible for finding and helping the chosen of Samkoma. There may be innocent people present on this conjunction, and magistrates advise caution must be taken to avoid innocent casualties. The Red Lantern, once the Red Lamb in Void, has 3 rooms set aside as offices for the gift of the dwindling star. 1 room for the Thor visitors, 1 for the Verushkin who oversees the gift, and 1 between them that's used for the passing of Ilium from Okkodov to the Empire. The housekeeper responsible for keeping the 3 rooms tidy overheard mutterings from some of the orcs, of deals gone sour with Shadow Creeper, with Black Damp, with the Night Below. Slasna Breznikov, the housekeeper, went to speak with the Kabbalists of Void, who spoke cryptically of deals gone wrong and bargains misunderstood. The Thule, the chosen of Samkoma, set off back to Okkodov just before dawn, a fortnight before the winter solstice. Hekla of Samkoma, warlock and authority of the town, has sent word to the embassy that the orcs have yet to return. Z asks that the custodian of the gift of the dwindling star, Fretek Sagava Slavomirin, find the chosen Samkoma and help them in whatever way they can. The Kabbalists of Void caution that if the housekeeper is correct and the Thule made a deal with the Fly the Light, then Fretek should proceed with some extreme caution if they do come across the orcs. Within Patterns. Sermasuak. A group of Thule has crossed the border and are threatening the caravans of food from Wreck. This skirmish is a combat highly likely encounter. The mediator of Rek is responsible for soothing the Thule of Volham. There may be innocent people present on this conjunction. Magistrates advise caution must be taken to avoid innocent casualties. In northern East Flows, on the border with Silver Peaks, a small band of Thule have crossed the border and have begun to threaten the caravans bringing food from Rek into Thule lands. Warlock Askia has disavowed the group, making clear that they are acting without her authority. The Warlock has gone further and implied that she believes the rogue Thule are under the effect of some malign influence, dropping vague hints about incidents in Urdur. Askia, as the Warlock with overall responsibility for the trade, has asked the mediator of Rek, Halvin Breingold, to go and help soothe the Thule of Volham. She maintains that the Thule might be reasoned with and calmed down and could return back to Okkodov. But Askia also understands if that cannot happen, and the potential for necessary violence. And finally, Rak thanks the ambassador for a diverting conversation and continue donations to the embassy. They indicate that the main political concern is the extension, or lack thereof, of the treaty. In a formal message to Ambassador Kindra, Rak, who speaks for the Dragons Undivided, thanks them for a diverting and informative conversation, and especially for the gift presented to them, which he says has made for fascinating reading. On a more personal note, he thanks the ambassador for continuing to ensure that the embassy, positioned as it is in one of the coldest spots in the Empire, continues to be habitable. On the matters of Suak hunting rights, however, he unfortunately cannot commit to anything at this time. Once the matter of the peace treaty is concluded at the summer solstice, however, he or his successor will be happy to continue negotiation in the matter of the senator for Summer Suak, or more likely the mediator of Rek. Although white granite is unlikely to be on the table, there is indeed every chance of negotiating for something other than manna. Assuming the peace treaty is extended, of course. If it is war between Okkodov and the Empire, there will be no opportunity for such a discussion.